Final Fantasy is the kind of franchise that will always bring with it a wave of nostalgia. For me, I always feel a little too emotional whenever I hear the somber notes of Tizanakand from Final Fantasy X and think back on my time with Yuna, Tidus and co. So surely it's no secret that it was Square Enix's mission to encapsulate that feeling of nostalgia when they created World of Final Fantasy, a game which aims to be a celebration of the series while also reeling in a younger breed of audience right before the launch of Final Fantasy XV. As a spin-off, World of Final Fantasy centres around two new characters, twins Rain and Lan, who wake up with a classic case of video games amnesia to find their hometown deserted and a woman sitting in their coffee shop claiming herself to be God. You know, classic JRPG stuff. Things get even weirder when the twins discover that once upon a time they commanded an army of monsters known as Mirages in a beautiful foreign land called Grimoire, where all of its inhabitants are cute, tiny little beings called Lillikans and believe our protagonist to be the giants of a mysterious prophecy. Despite the convoluted story, World of Final Fantasy definitely tries to come across as a more light-hearted and comedic than the main series, stressing to cast its heroes Lan as a dim-wit goofball and Rain as the more down-to-earth switched-on of the two. While it's clearly meant to come across as hilarious banter, the dialogue between the two main characters and the wider cast is often unnecessarily long, painfully slapstick and fourth wall breaking, and I soon learnt to hit the fast forward button whenever I felt like a dull cutscene was coming on. But nothing made me more thankful for the dreaded the skip button than the super annoying dialogue of the sidekick Tama, and even making myself do that pains me. The writing and narrative aren't enticing by any means, but luckily they do make way for World of Final Fantasy's stronger side, its battle mechanics. You see, both Rain and Lan not only have the power to change from giant form to chibi size at the press of a button, but they also have the power to imprison mirages and use them in battles, a la Pokemon and Ni no Kuni. However, mirages come in different sizes, ranging from small, medium and large, and even extra large. Depending on what form Lan and Rain are in at the time, small mirages can be stacked on top of the heroes whilst larger mirages are mounted, creating a tower of monsters, combining all their stats, unique abilities and weaknesses. But your cute monster totem pole isn't indestructible, as enemy mirages can indeed topple you over, leaving your team weak and vulnerable, while you attempt to knock down enemy stats in return. While still turn-based at its core, the stacking mechanic actually leads to a really fun and unique playstyle, encouraging you to experiment with different stacking combinations and think ahead to which form, giant or chibi stacks, you want to utilise for different situations. With the inclusion of Mirage boards, a levelling and ability system similar to the Sphere Grid from Final Fantasy X, dungeon crawling, Mirage imprisoning, and the added element of transformations, or rather evolving your monsters, the first few hours of the game do provide a slight onslaught of gameplay explanations, which may put off younger players. However, at times World of Final Fantasy equally falls victim to finding the right balance in its difficulty curve, and for the most part offers very linear, albeit very pretty dungeons, and a rather too easy boss battles for its more seasoned audience. Even to the extent that you can always guarantee that there'll be a treasure chest waiting for you down that dead end that you spy on every map, in every dungeon. But let's face it, we all know what we're here for, and that's our dose of Final Fantasy nostalgia and fan service, which is brought to us in the form of unusually short sequences starring cameos of past Final Fantasy characters such as Cloud, Riku, Tifa, Sephiroth, Squall, Lightning, Yuna and Tidus to name a few, who act as inhabitants of Grimoire and your champions. Really don't think about the technicalities of it too much. After a while, once you've gained a character's champion medal after completing their individual side quests, you can summon the corresponding Final Fantasy character like Cloud into the battle as a limited time assist. You can even pick up Sora from Kingdom Hearts via free DLC. One of my favourite parts of the games was these champion quests, which took the form of varying side missions, from following Riku on her treasure hunting escapades to helping out Tifa and Terra in their boss battles, which are mounted the more you play and accessible at any point should you venture back to your hometown. The game also offers a battle coliseum, as another welcome diversion from the often repetitious slog of linear dungeon crawling. But for a game which claims to champion the legacy of the FF series, I couldn't help feeling like I still wanted more, and my dream of making an ultimate chibi stacking combination of Squall, Cloud and Lightning was never to be. Despite its obvious shortcomings, I couldn't help but like World of Final Fantasy. Its visuals and in-game setting look absolutely gorgeous, presented in bold, bright colours which really pop out on screen, and I loved how it blended various art styles, with Kingdom Hearts-esque cutscenes and giant character models, to a cute chibi style hailing back to theatre rhythm and even manga animations to spice things up. The whole game is incredibly charming, and I really can't emphasise enough, as sad as it is to say out loud, how much joy watching a chocochick flit around my screen brought me. It would be totally unfair to suggest that World of Final Fantasy is just a game to keep us occupied while we wait for Final Fantasy XV, and its unique and fun battle mechanics make it stand out as more than just a spin-off in my books. It's charming, visually impressive, and offers enough nostalgic tidbits to keep you playing through the 35+ hours of content, which I personally found were about 5 hours too long, if only to see which character pops up next, and a chance to sample another classic FF song remix. If you're a sucker for nostalgia and all things cute and round and happen to be a die-hard fan of Final Fantasy, there's enough to love here, but it doesn't come without the cost of a few frustrating design flaws. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you found this helpful or enjoyed this in any way, make sure to hit that like button and even consider a share. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!